This may seem odd, but imagine a world where four forces act seamlessly as one. That's the power of net-centric warfare. One Navy, one Air Force, one Marines, one Army, one force. Northrop Grumman, defining the future.
From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Chuck Todd and John Mercurio.
Hotline TV, happy Monday. I'm Chuck Todd.
And I'm John Mercurio. This weekend, Mark Foley made life a lot more difficult for congressional Republicans. Chuck, just how dramatically does this change the November landscape?
I think it's huge. I think it's big. You and I had a conversation on Friday evening.
We did.
Doing a Richter scale test. At the time, you said between 1 and 10. I said 3.
I said 8 or 9.
You
I'm
did,
sticking to it.
And I'm joining you. I think it's an 8 or 9. Look, at the time, I don't think we understood the extent with which the House Republican leadership knew. This is not about Mark Foley. Mm-hmm. This is now about what were these? Why didn't these guys pursue a real investigation? Did they just do just enough because they were worried about what they'd find? It was sort of like totally like sweeping a floor and just putting it under the rug and being completely afraid to actually lifting up that rug.
Right. You know, we're these little political junkie people in Washington who watch all this stuff closely. We're watching when Reynolds knew, when he told Hastert, when the clerk knew, when Rodney Alexander knew. All that people outside of Washington, I think, at this point, are going to really absorb about this story is that the Republican leadership knew something and didn't do enough to
about a pedophile.
About a pedophile.
That's all. I mean, they watch Dateline. Dateline's about pedophiles every week these days, right?
And,
or every
and frankly,
other day.
I don't see how Republicans can emerge from that, whether or not it's actually fair to judge them on that. The perception out there is that they didn't do enough to stop a pedophile. And I don't see how, 5 weeks before the election, you recover from that.
Earlier today, Speaker Hastert did a press avail, which was, in a word, a disaster. He and Shimkus go out there, don't take any questions. Mm-hmm. Number one, announce new security measures and an 800 number. Now, let's realize what they're announcing. Basically, they're saying, we don't trust the members of Congress so much that we have to put an alarm system to protect kids from members of Congress.
Right, exactly.
We have to announce
Again,
an 800 number to protect kids from members of Congress, as if they're Foley isn't alone, as if there might be like all the... Where is somebody taken? Nobody has taken responsibility of saying, you know what, this is a failure in leadership. I should have known better, and that happened on my watch. I'm done. I'm out. I don't know if that's Hastert. I don't know if that's Reynolds. I don't know if that's Boehner. I don't know which one it is. But I think short of something like that happen, this thing's going to haunt them.
Can I bring up an image issue? Where was Deborah Price during this press conference? Why isn't there a woman out there on this issue? I think voters are looking at this issue as something that they need some sort of relationship between the House Republican leadership. All they have is white men up there. Nancy Pelosi, despite
and let's focus
what
on
Republicans...
Let's focus on one white man. Let's move on sort of the second part of this conversation. Dennis Hastert. His political career, is it over?
I don't know if his career is over at this point. He was probably going to be stepping down next term anyway. So, if anybody has to step down,
how many guys have resigned?
Probably him.
Have had, how many resigned from their seat just in this last year?
Sure.
4.
And how many
Duke
speakers
Cunningham,
have? How many
Tom
Republican
Belay,
speakers?
Bob
Every
Ney, and now
Republican
Mark Foley.
speaker has, since they took over in 1994, has stepped down in relative disgrace.
Yeah, it hasn't. It hasn't either booted out of office like Tom Foley,
right?
Not to be confused with Mark Foley. That this means you, DNC,
right?
But
Newt Gingrich, Bob Livingston.
You do wonder if Hastert's the one. It might be in the House Republican caucus's best interest if he takes one for the team here. Maybe that's not fair, but if he takes one for the team, it could get rid of this story after a couple of days. Short of that, this thing's going to linger for the rest of the month.
Right. All right, that'll do it for today's episode. Join us tomorrow when we consider what else Congress did last week and if any of that really matters now.
Till tomorrow, I'm Chuck Todd.
I'm John Mercurio. We'll see you later on Hotline TV.